Shalom, shalom, family. This is Yehuda from YAH'S Assembly, and scientists have found a way to create dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. We could potentially be living in a Jurassic Park type of world, but we'll get into that later.
You will not believe what we're about to tell you. Scientists have just created the very first dino chicken. Using chicken DNA, they've proven how evolution works, and we might just see dinosaurs roam the earth again. It's our one chance to live out a real-life version of Jurassic Park. So join us as we learn how scientists took chicken DNA and created the Chickenosaurus. How and why was this discovery made? It's a universal truth that everyone loves dinosaurs. They're so mysterious. No one really knows what they looked like or what exactly happened to them, but we're so intrigued and wish we could live among the majestic beasts, and because of science, we might be able to. There's a lot of anecdotal information on the popularity of dinosaurs, like all the cheap plastic dinosaur toys you see around that never seem to go out of style, or an unending supply of dinosaur books geared towards kids that appear year after year, or any new dinosaur exhibition can guarantee a line of children around the neighborhood excited to see the latest findings. No one knows why, but kids adore dinosaurs, and that's all that matters. And don't forget that there's a great deal of interest from grown-ups too. The Tyrannosaurus and Diplodocus first appear to us as kids, their bones influencing dreams, nightmares, and a few of our very first ever connections to science. We love our dinos even after we quit making Triceratops and Stegosaurus fight in the school playground. The pop cultural success of the radioactive wannabe dino Godzilla, as well as the hype around Jurassic World, prove that dinosaurs aren't just for kids. But why are we so obsessed with these beautiful giants? Why not a mania for prehistoric period creepy crawlies or fossil mammal fan bases? The typical response in popular psychology is that dinosaurs were enormous, fierce, and extinct. This makes them both impressive and safely approachable. At the Natural History Museum, there's no threat of Allosaurus snatching up children who bend over the barriers. Sure, birds are kind of like living dinosaurs, and a magnificent collection of fossils proves it. Still, a chickadee is no substitute for a Dreadnoughtus. We are constantly faced with an almost eternal number of questions about how they lived. What did they gobble up? How quickly could they move? What were their voices like? What shade were they? It's impossible not to be curious about the animal's life, and we believe that this basic curiosity about the lives of the strange and extinct accounts for dinosaurs' powerful charm. So maybe that's why scientists saw a chance to bring them back and got straight to it. Research proved that birds can become dinos. We all know that birds have an endless selection of beaks, from the curved snout of the flamingo to the dainty and lethal beak of an owl, and then to the round snout of our dino chicken. Don't worry if you've never heard of the dino chicken, it was concocted only recently by scientists from Yale. Researchers meddled with chicken embryos to develop a velociraptor's snout in a study published not too long ago in the journal Evolution. But according to the researchers, bringing about a real-life Jurassic Park was not the whole point of this experiment. The lead author of this paper, Bart-Anjan Bula, ensured that the image of a dino chicken will be forever ingrained in our brains. He explained that their objective was to understand the molecular foundations of a crucial evolutionary shift. It was not to produce a dino chicken plainly for the sake of it. Bula and fellow researchers examined fossils of beaked dinosaurs and present bird bones. This was to better understand how dinosaur snouts, which were rounded and had a distinct bone structure, evolved into the beaks we see today. They discovered that there was a clear pattern of expression of genes in birds that did not exist in mammals or reptiles. The shape of the beak was determined by a specific gene expression. Scientists have made chicken embryos develop a snout and palate resembling their dino ancestors. This was done by incorporating an inhibitor to stop the genetic signal instructing the embryo to develop a bird beak. All they did was some facial reconstruction to modify the chickens. The team led by Bula and Arhat Abzanov, an evolutionary biologist at Harvard University, examined the embryonic development of beaks in chickens and emus. He also studied snouts in gators, lizards, and even turtles to try and understand how these bones may have merged. They rationalized that reptile and dinosaur snouts grow similarly. Still, developmental paths that form the bird snout were changed during bird evolution. The researchers discovered that two proteins that facilitate facial development were expressed differently in bird and reptile embryos. These proteins were active in two tiny areas of the embryo that develop into the face in reptiles, but in birds, both proteins were expressed in a broad band across the embryonic region. Boulard interprets the findings as significant evidence that altered protein activity played a role in the evolution of the beak. To put this theory to the test, the researchers used biochemicals to stop the activity of both of the proteins in lots of developing chicken eggs. So when was the first chickasaur born? Sadly, it wasn't. The scientists didn't hatch the eggs because that step was not included in their official research protocol. Probably something about ethics. Instead, they noticed a difference in the faces of ready-to-hatch chicks, which differed considerably from chicks whose proteins had not been inhibited. The modified chicks still had a flap of skin covering their potential beaks, so the distinction is subtle. Looking at these animals from the outside, you'd think it's a beak, but if you looked at the skeleton, you'd be baffled. It would be better if birds didn't get any snouts. The promexili were partially merged in some embryos, but distinct and much shorter in others. And some modified embryos didn't look all that different from normal chicken embryos. The researchers used a CT scanner to make electronic models of their skulls. The results suggested bones of ancient birds like Archaeopteryx and dinosaurs like velociraptors more so than the unaltered chickens. Isn't that crazy? Can we take it a step further? When scientists reported that they had altered the beak of a chicken embryo to imitate the snout of its dinosaur forefathers, talk of a chickenosaurus lit up the world of science. Even though some experts applauded the achievement, a beak is only one of many changes required to transform a chicken into a dinosaur. Considering these challenges, how close are scientists to developing a dinosaur chicken? Jack Horner, a paleontology professor at Montana State University and curator of paleontology at the Museum of the Rockies, said we're halfway there. Horner has long endorsed the idea of genetically altering chickens to resemble dinosaurs. Unlike the scientists in the study we've been talking about, he wants to raise a live one. And why should we stop there? Numerous changes could be possible by knowing how and when to alter specific molecular mechanisms. As Horner pointed out, a unicorn that glows in the dark isn't out of the question. According to Horner, 4 major changes are required to create a so-called chickenosaurus. Scientists would need to give a chicken teeth and a long tail and convert its wings back into hands and arms to reshape it into a dinosaur-like creature. He also said that the beast would demand a modified mouth, which the scientists who conducted this latest study achieved. He claims that this dinosaur chicken project is similar to the Moon Project. We know we can do it, it's only that there are some major obstacles. One of those significant hurdles was overcome in the previous study released on May 12, 2015 in the journal Evolution, in which scientists transformed chicken beaks into dinosaur snouts. Even that apparently inconsequential step required 7 years of effort. It's not easy for researchers to get embryos of modern-day animals like crocodiles to make a comparison, as they have to find farms that raise them, and afterward the molecular work defining exactly which formative pathways are unique, how they're distinct, and what regulates them can take endless hours and lots of experimentation for just a few successful ones. It's kind of like fossil hunting. Will the Chickenosaurus become a new species? Boulard wasn't interested in forming an actual living being. Horner, on the other hand, wanted to create a Chickenosaurus. His team had been working on giving the chickens a long tail, which he describes as the most challenging aspect of creating a dino chicken. For example, they recently screened genes in mice to evaluate which genetic pathways prevent tail development. He said this insight could assist them in determining how to activate tail growth. According to Boulard, how chickens will respond to tails, arms, fingers, and teeth is still to be seen. Chickens, on the other hand, are hardy creatures. Just because you altered one part doesn't mean the animal couldn't utilize it or use it properly. You could give a chicken some fingers, but if the fingers lack the correct muscles or if the nervous system and brain aren't appropriately wired to cope with a hand with different digits, you may need to do some extra engineering. People frequently overlook their body's flexibility. It's incredible how much compensation occurs, and the nervous system in particular is really plastic. Suppose dinosaur-like elements like a snout and teeth were ingrained. In that case, Boulard wonders if the brain would still not reconfigure itself in some way to allow these creatures to use these features. Horner compared giving a chicken a dinosaur-like tail to mating a wolf with a chihuahua, except on a faster timescale. We do already have a plethora of genetically altered animals due to breeding. We could make a dinosaur chicken and a unicorn that glows in the dark. He believes that once we fully comprehend the genes, we can create anything we want. And the question is, why would anybody even care about it if they don't care about a chihuahua? Horner's Chickenosaurus is all about answering the ultimate question. Anyone curious about how we got here and where everything came from must be interested in evolutionary biology. It's essentially the framework for life on Earth. Going after dinosaurs is a mission to fill in some gaps in our history, not least because our fuzzy ancestors scampered under their feet for millions of years. Dinosaurs can be Hollywood monsters, scientific marvels, or anything in between. Still, our obsession with them arises from a desire to learn more about the prehistory we share. The dinosaur's tale is linked with our own.
Now, what benefit do we have creating dinosaurs from chickens? Yes, in case you didn't know, chickens are descendants of dinosaurs through evolution. And now they've learned how to manipulate the beak to make it a snout. And now they're trying to learn how to give it hands and a tail and all this other type of stuff again. What benefit do we have? When the Bible says, as in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be, that's what they mean. Because man is trying to play God or allure the Most High. And they're not. It just makes you wonder, like, why? And then if you really stop and think about it, that's why they've been feeding us these movies about Jurassic Park and Godzilla and all this and that, because they're letting you know this isn't fairy tale. This is their plan. And they're trying to romanticize it, and people don't even understand that they're putting you under a spell. That's why it's entertainment. So we need to be vigilant. When you're watching movies, you need to be watching movies and TV shows with your spiritual eyes. All this futuristic, quote unquote, technology that they're making you think that we don't have, pretty sure they already have it. Just like the Indian guy, he didn't even want to create an actual live dinosaur. He wanted to keep it, in the egg stage, and then just, do an autopsy over the egg or whatever, the yolk, whatever you want to call it, the embryo. But I don't know, just like in the movies, why is it always older white men that want to do this? Because he said he wants to raise it. And could we be living in a Jurassic Park type of world within the next decade? I don't know, 20 years? It's not out of the realm of possibility, because I'm telling you, they have a lot of technology, especially with DARPA, that you wouldn't even believe. Wouldn't even believe, people. Sometimes the truth is really stranger than fiction, so just stay vigilant, use and work out your spirit of discernment. Stay prayed up, because the deceptions are going to keep coming. And I repeat, they are going to keep coming. I am Yehuda. This is YAH'S Assembly. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like and share our content. And until next time, peace, family. Whoa, 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 whoa.